At this point, we've finished almost all the steps that we would need to finish the homework for this week. I'm going a little out of order, but the only final thing we'll want to do is we're going to want to cut some windows and some doors into this model so that we can actually get in. So I'm gonna make a door here that's centered right on the front of this wall. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to always start with guides for something like this. So I go to my tape measure tool and I drag a guide from one edge to the center, and I let that pop right to the center. And we've drawn a nice clean box so that it's 10 feet to begin with to the center. It's nice and clean. Sometimes you'll find, and often you'll find that the center is not so clean. So I click to the center. Now from this guide I'm going to pull out and I'm going to make a standard 3-foot door. So I have to go 1 foot 6 in this direction and 1 foot 6 in this direction. 6, enter. And I'm just going to make this a standard 6'8" door. So 6 foot 8, enter, which is kind of more of an interior door. Double click on this to open it up. Now notice I'm going to select my face because I want to see as I'm doing this that the rectangle that I used to draw my door and bring it down to that corner, click, I want to see that creates a separate shape on that same plane. I want to see that I have two different planes that I can now work with. I mean, not planes, two different faces. Now I go with my push-pull, and I click once on that face, and I bring it in till I touch, and I can see that it's on the back face. Click. So I can close that group now by clicking out. And if I wanted to maintain that same height all the way around, I can use a guide to click on the line of the bottom of that wall next to it and touch that point, and I can keep doing that all the way around. And click. So if on the side, for instance, I wanted to create a series of windows that are exactly in the same place, and let's do this. Let's make sure that I don't hit this point because I don't want a window that goes into the underside of that. So if I click and start dragging along and I hold my shift key down and then I touch the point of the inside of that wall or anywhere on this face, click, I know that on this wall I've created let's go ahead and hide this. If I go to my select tool, select, and I right click and I hide this, I can see that this point, the point of this guide is aligning with the line of this shape here. So I'm going to go ahead and edit, unhide, last. So now if I wanted to create a series of windows here that was exactly the same space, or that was equally spaced, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my guide to give myself a little buffer. Let's make the buffer 14 inches on each side. 14, enter. And then I'm going to bring a guide down that is, let's make this 3 feet, enter. Got to make sure that this is opened up. The group has to be open before I can start editing the face of this. So I'll start with the rectangle tool, and I'll click, and I'm going to bring that down to this point here. And before we do that, let's escape, and let me go ahead and give myself one more guide that tells me exactly how big that window is going to be. So I'm going to bring my guide out, and I'm going to make the guide 2 feet. So I'm doing kind of a rectangular window. So I'm going to go with my rectangle tool and I'm going to click on that point. But before I push-pull this in now, I'm going to double-click on this face, and I'm going to get my Move tool activated, and I'm going to copy this from this point, and I'm just going to drag it all the way till I touch this point. Click. Now I'm going to do divided by, let's try 3 to start. So that gives me 1, 2, 3 equal spaces. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do divided by 4, enter. So they're a little tighter. Now I'm going to go with my push-pull, and I'm going to click on the push-pull, click and drag, click and click. Again, I'm not holding down on the mouse while I do this. So I click, I move it till I can see that I'm on the inside face, and I click. Click and click. Click and click. And then right-click to close the group. Right, so I've got some windows started here. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some grander windows. So let's go with the tape measure tool again. And let's see, I think I have remember we talked about hiding and deleting guides? See if I select these guides up here, they're attached to this. This is a good example of when I'm going to want to do something like edit, delete guides, because I don't want to delete the guide and then lose this wall. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to start with my tape tool. I'm going to click and drag this up, and I'm going to go 2'6" off the ground. I'm also going to bring this, I'm going to find my center point here. So I've got a center point along this wall now, which is 4'3". So I'm centering this window, this new window that I'm going to add, along this face. And I'm going to find the center point on this face too, so I can copy that shape over once I do it. So I want to make this one at the same width as the door. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to make it 1'6" in this direction and 1'6" in this direction. And I'm going to drag that same height and match it to this point. So open this up, double click, and I'm going to make my rectangle starting from this point to this point. But in this case, I'm going to use my arc tool to create a perfect half circle on the top. So if I click on the arc tool, I can start from that middle point there, click once, click to this outer point, and then drag all the way around to there. Go to my select tool, I'm going to delete this line because I don't want it, so I just hit the delete key. And now I can copy this shape by double clicking on it, so I have the entire shape selected. If I triple click, I'm getting the whole thing, so I don't want to do that. I just want to double click, go to my move tool, click from that middle point, hit my copy button, and drag it all the way to that middle point here that I've created to begin with. So now I've got two windows that are equally spaced off of the door. And I can go to my push-pull, click on that face and drag it in till it says it's on face, click. Click this face and drag it in till it says it's on face, click. And click out in space, and I am finished. Edit, delete guides, because I don't need those anymore. The final thing I'm going to do just for fun in this model is I'm going to turn these stairs a little bit so that I have a little bit of a half landing. So I'm going to open this group by double clicking on it. I'm going to hold down my shift key as I select all the stairs that I want. And then I'm going to activate my rotate tool right here. Holding shift down while I'm on the blue axis, I then click on this inside corner, click on this outside corner, and drag it along 90 degrees, typing 90. And then I activate my move tool and drag this back. I'm going to orbit around as I move. Notice I can orbit and I can zoom while I'm doing this. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to touch this point right along the green axis like that. I'm going to zoom back out. And my last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open this stair up, get my push-pull tool, and push-pull and drag this all the way to the edge so it becomes a landing. And close the group, and close the group again. So I've created a little bit of an L-shaped stair that leads up to my second floor. So for the homework, you're going to do some specific windows that are actually detailed in the instructions that you'll have attached. But I recommend on the second floor, or if you want to just go nuts with the different shapes of the windows, feel free to explore using some different shapes for the window openings. This is the point at which, once you've gotten to this point, you will be complete with the homework. You're going to want to follow the homework in the PDF that I have attached. It's not going to be these exact dimensions, and it's not going to be these exact sizes and shapes, but everything that we've covered in the videos thus far will get you all the way through the homework.